So for the last 2 weeks, I've kind of been obsessing about why I lied to myself and how I can knock that off. Hey there, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, allow me to introduce myself. My name's TK, and around here I just like to make videos to share with you ways I am trying to live my life with more intention. And today we are kind of going back to the fundamentals and talking about what intentional living is in the first place, because that is kind of why I am obsessed with this problem I have of just flat out lying to myself on the reg. So for me, living an intentional life means building habits and making choices that are in alignment with my core values. One of those core values, if not the most important and the cornerstone of what I would like my entire life to be about, is honesty. Honesty and integrity are probably the most valuable traits to me, and I would like to emulate that in as many areas of my life as I possibly can. And I think with all of these values, it starts with yourself. Because the last thing I want to be is a damn hypocrite. Probably like you, I have had a lot of time to spend with myself lately. Thank you, Corona Quarantine 2020. I've spent a lot more time being introspective, journaling, meditating, trying to figure out how to build the best day I possibly can with the tools I have, with the things that I can control. And one of the things I'm finding over and over and over again is that I am really great at just ignoring something that doesn't feel good, whether that's emotionally or physically, pretending it doesn't exist and moving on. Which is a lie. That is a form of lying. And then I'll go ahead and take it one step further and totally gaslight myself into believing that that thing didn't exist in the first place. It was a figment of my imagination. The discomfort didn't actually occur. This, my friends, is called self-deception. Let me give you a very recent and very stupid example. I had a wisdom tooth come in December. I did not have it treated until 2 weeks ago. Today is May 3rd. That's 5 months of semi-excruciating and constant pain that I just decided didn't matter. Let me explain. So a major part in my ability to lie to myself and convince myself that this tooth pain from my wisdom tooth that was causing me a lot of distress wasn't real or intense or important was to uphold my fear of the dentist, which super embarrassing. Hopefully this vulnerability just lets some of the shame that I have around this go. But guys, up until I had this wisdom tooth extracted, I had not been to the dentist since I was 16. It had been at least 13 years, maybe longer, I am not sure. And I was super nervous about the way they would judge the state of my mouth. I tried to be pretty strict with my oral hygiene. I know it's important, but I just have had very bad experiences with the dentist and didn't bring myself to take care of it for a really long time. A lot of the time when I brought up the pain, friends would have one or two reactions. They would tell me their own excruciating wisdom tooth story about some horrible recovery process that was really expensive. Or they would be like, what are you doing? Just go get it handled. And I gravitated to the horror stories, upholding my belief that dentists are awful and scary and expensive, and just kept telling myself for 5 months that it wasn't doable, that I couldn't afford it, that I didn't have enough time to heal. It took less than a minute to get this damn tooth out. I was super lucky to find an oral surgeon in my area that was able to see me under an emergency circumstance, because the tooth was actually starting to abscess and it was crowding in the back of my mouth. And it could have caused a lot of problems if I had actually waited much longer. So the pain that I was feeling was definitely real, definitely valid, and I should have tended to it earlier because they had to see me under emergency circumstances during the pandemic. Not cool, TK. Anyway, sleep dentistry in Portland, Oregon could not be more highly recommended as far as I'm concerned. They were really understanding about the state of my mouth, said a bunch of nice things, made sure like the atmosphere was awesome and played like upbeat music. I had really convinced myself that that pain was just normal. Like this is just part of the human experience, that some amount of agony is to be expected. And that's bull. I can't believe I did that. My pain was not only totally unnecessary, it was easily remedied. Financially, I was expecting it to be around like $1,400, and out of pocket after insurance, it only cost me $89. And I truly think that if circumstances were different and I wasn't just like self-quarantining and spending a lot of time being more in tune with myself, I would have just let that pain keep going until maybe it had fully abscessed, and then we'd have like really big problems. So I hope you can learn from this lesson. I hope I also learn from this lesson. And I think a huge part of me being committed to this more intentional lifestyle is also me making a commitment to be more honest with myself. Practicing self-deception, I think, is really just training ourselves on how to be better liars on the outside. Once we get comfortable with that lack of accountability, it might be easier for us to then be untruthful with other people around us. Don't believe me? Read that article in the description from the Scientific American that makes a pretty good argument for that case. So what do we do to stop it? I don't really know. One of the bigger clues I'm finding that lead to self-deception are strong feelings one way or the other. If I am particularly scared or angry or even really excited or attached to a certain outcome or have a specific expectation, then I might not be telling myself the whole truth. I'm not totally sure what to do with all of that. Some of them are like little lies, and some of them are bigger. Like I feel like I have for a long time told myself I am great at time management, and here I am yet again on Sunday night trying to film a YouTube video for Monday morning. Y'all who come here often know that is not the first time this has happened to me, and despite all this evidence I have about my lack of time management skills, I still try to pretend that it is something I excel at. It is really hard to be super honest with yourself and have a realistic worldview of what you can accomplish and what your strengths and weaknesses are. But I do think that this practice is instrumental in living an intentional life. And I don't know, maybe this is something that only applies to me. I think self-deception is pretty widespread based on the things I was finding in my research. It's kind of discussed a lot. It coincides with like cognitive dissonance, which is a whole nother topic that we can talk about another time. But let me know in the comments below if there is something that you have come to realize about yourself that maybe wasn't super easy. And I just want to like cheer you on, because it's a tough one. Tough pill to swallow, but it's important that we keep each other accountable. Speaking of, I will be changing my upload schedule to once every 2 weeks. I'm hoping that eases some of the stress and burden of coming up with topics, and I have also recently taken on a new job. So with my slightly more limited schedule, I don't want to hold myself to a specific upload day. So make sure that you like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you want to stick with me on my more intentional journey, and hit that bell and make sure you select all notifications, because it's not going to be every Monday anymore. It's going to be a little bit more sporadic. I wish I was in a place currently where I could have a more consistent schedule, but I'm not, and that is just the reality of the situation. So let me be honest with myself about it, and you as well. You certainly deserve it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you are well. I hope you stay that way. I love you so much, and I'll see you later.